So we will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You feeling okay over there? Uh,
Oh, I feel a little bit off.
yeah, it's kind of showing today. Anyway, welcome to the Fragments of Silicon Reviews. 2 games up this week. First up is Innerspace. So, got to preface something beforehand. Yeah, this is actually a pre-release review. The game is coming out this Thursday. So yeah, spoiler warning. It's like we have live raw gameplay playing in the corner of our show here. It's less of a problem if you're listening to the MP3 version, but if you want to steel yourself from any kind of spoilers, I can't exactly say what's going to appear on screen because, you know, we don't really time out these reviews.
I'm
We
at the
put it,
very beginning of the game at least, so that nothing too big should be spoiled.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
nothing big going on. Although this game does have more plot than I expected for mostly an atmospheric flying and swimming simulator type thing.
yeah, there's a lot of plot going on here actually, but we'll get into that when a little down the line. Anyway, so Innerspace is the creation of Polynite Games, which we were supposed to interview this week, but that got canceled at the last minute, and is being published by Aspire Media, who you probably know best from miscellaneous Mac ports. At any rate, so quantifying what this game is actually a bit difficult. Like, in some ways, it's pretty easy. It's a 6 degrees of freedom flight game. Like, if you've ever played, say, Descent or Forsaken, it's something like that, but less shooting and more exploring the world and banging into walls.
There will
Think
be a lot
Journey,
of
but with
banging.
flight.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the roll is really the thing that throws you off because there doesn't seem to be anything more than localized gravity, and not even much of that. So it's easy to get disoriented.
Yeah. But it's not only a flight game because you can go underwater. That happens actually a little down the line, but um, it should be coming up here soon enough. Uh, anyway, so you are this machine called the cartographer, and you team up with this boat down here called the archaeologist to explore this inner space called the inverse. Yeah, a lot of in going on here. What
Yeah,
it's in.
and just to double clarify, these are both actually like intelligent machines. There aren't people in them. And
Right.
the archaeologist actually built the cartographer, I believe,
Yes.
out of some stuff that it found.
Yes, and their mission is to find out what happened to this ancient civilization that disappeared and left all of this technology and architecture. It's your typical lost civilization yarn. Um,
Not the worst
and,
yarn to go with, but
you know,
you know.
and you also have to deal with these things called demigods. And to say more about that would probably be getting into actual spoiler territory. Granted, I don't think anyone here finished the game. I got about halfway through before I ran out of time. Um, kind of wanted to play it more, but I'll be honest, this is a game I only enjoyed playing for about a half an hour, kind of short term, because it's it being 360 degrees of control, you're gonna get dizzy.
Yeah, I was getting
Yeah.
disoriented a little bit in the pre-show.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that tends to happen when you have, the complete sphere of space. That happened to me in like Descent and other games of this nature.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like if you suffer from motion sickness, I'd probably warn against playing this game because it might you might throw up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, ditto if you suffer from vertigo, this game could potentially trigger it because once again, disorientating is the name of the game. No pun intended. Anyway, outside of dealing with the main plot, this game does have various collectibles called relics.
A lot of which like improve your
Mhm.
performance in various ways, but some don't.
Yeah, and either that or they tell you about the world, and the relics are used in the ones that upgrade you are used in tandem with the. I hesitate to use the word currency, but this substance called wind that you see lying about, which
It's the power source.
yeah, which also has a lot of plot significance. Like anyway, I got about halfway through this game. It's and that was about 7-8 hours. Mind you, this is with like exploring and looking for relics,
Which is how you're kind of supposed to play the game.
Yeah, spoiler. That's going to take more time. Not the least of which is because finding relics can be difficult. I won't lie. I would have preferred a map in this game. I get why they didn't go that direction. Sense of discovery and all that shit.
Well, that and also just full-on 3D maps can be tricky to implement when you can face them from any angle.
Yeah, there are ways to actually track relics. There is a radar system, but it's based off of sound and rumble. And I found it a little too a short distance for my liking. Like, I lost track of a couple of relics. Like, it's not a big issue where Petty Fan is. But once you start getting into the bigger chambers, you're gonna, and you start going through tunnels and shit, you're gonna wish that there was a better way of keeping track of where you were. There are ways like collecting wind, and the wind also functions as a level design. The trail of breadcrumbs that platformers like to use, it's here too. Only problem is you might break away from the trail to see if you missed any, and then you kind of lose your place. This happened to me.
Or if you go along a line in the wrong direction, or while looking in the wrong direction, like either by going like from the wrong end, or just by, oops, I'm going upside down from the direction of the thing that I was supposed to notice. It's possible to not realize the thing you're supposed to be following it to.
Yeah. As far as objectives go, the archaeologist will point you in the general right direction, but sometimes his hits may be kind of lacking. I'm like, and there is a certain point where the archaeologist will be beyond your reach, let's say. And how you feel about that, I suppose it depends upon your stance on in-game hints in general. I'm like, I'll be honest, I didn't mind it, since sometimes conveyance can be an issue.
Oh yeah, this game needs as many hints as you can get. Even when the things you can cut with your wings are pretty clearly obvious when you're pointed at them,
Yeah,
they can still be really easy to not notice when you're not pointed at them.
I suppose, but I'm talking more about where to go. Like you will see a lot of striking buildings, but you're not sure if that's the one you need to go to.
Right.
You know that. But yeah, and yeah, your principal ways of like manipulating the environments is either cutting ropes or just smashing through walls. Uh, I think I mentioned yeah before, but yeah, there is no fail state in this game. At least none that I saw. Like so, if you crash against the wall, all you're gonna do is literally bounce off of it. And there's no real violence or anything like that. So, if you want a game for your kids, this might be something for that. Depending
Asterisk,
on
as
how
long as they're not motion sick.
yeah, it's like as long as they can handle the 360-degree range here. Speaking of which, how are you faring, Petty Fan?
Uh, let's just say I probably won't be picking this game up again.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Petty Fan has issues with motion sickness.
Yep. So
So,
nothing against Polyknight, it's just a me thing.
yeah. Anyway, so moving forwards, the graphics. The game looks just stunning. Like, uh, really good use of color, not just here. And um, the game looks like you're flying through a watercolor painting.
Yeah, it's a very stylized art style, but it's pretty, and
Yeah.
certainly you have plenty of ways that you can approach the environment to explore.
hmm That being said, like the actual like polygon count and all that doesn't seem to be the highest. Like,
Uh-huh.
scenes start showing up when you get up close. Like the graphics don't look as good as they initially do, if that makes any sense. Like, but it's nothing too bad or problematic. And I didn't detect any like bad load times or any hitches. The game ran smooth. I'm not sure if this game is on Unity. It kind of looks like it's using the Unity engine, but this is the kind of insight we get from our developer interviews.
Yeah.
And I'll also note that all of us are playing the game on the PC, but it is coming out for all major platforms. How that how that factors into individual system quirks beyond our reach. That's just kind of a digital foundry thing, let's just say. But just in general, um, and the game's sound is actually really important here. Uh, not just the music, but the entire world's I'm not sure what the word is, but it tells you on like the transitional screens that the each chamber has been tuned to a specific key, and they're all in that key. I suppose that would mean more if I knew a lot more about music.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, it's a bit of a deficiency in my knowledge base. Uh, that being said, the actual soundtrack is very atmospheric, very ambient, um, but still really good and actually surprisingly memorable, which is actually a bit unusual for soundtracks of this nature. That it didn't fade into the background um, versus other soundtracks that I've heard in the past. That was my interpretation. Uh, let's see what else. What else to talk about? Pricing. Yes, there we go. So the game is standard indie pricing. It's going to run you $20. Um, personally, I think that's a good range for this. Like, You know, doesn't seem to be lacking in content. It's very unique. Has very high production values
Mm-hmm.
and all that kind of thing. Like I can see why this is priced how it is. And also worth noting that this on computer platforms, this is going to be supporting all systems, um, PC, Mac. No
Linux.
Linux version though.
Oh, no Linux yet.
Yeah, not surprising that there's a Mac version because, as I mentioned, Aspire, the publisher, specializes in Mac stuff. In fact, I once tried to get them on the show, and they asked me if, "Are you a Mac show?" And I'm like, "No." And they were like, we like. I guess at that particular moment in time, they were doing business with like Mac only productions.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like it was weird. I'm like, I get. I'm like, whatever. Anyway, so any other thoughts on Innerspace here from the crew?
Uh, I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed like flying around and messing around. I do feel like the actual things you're supposed to do are sometimes less than clear
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because
More direction
Yeah.
would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed the exploration, but yeah, sometimes you could get lost in your objectives.
Yeah,
Or
Or
lack
like
thereof.
it seems like something
Yeah.
should happen, but you can't figure out exactly the right way to interact with it to make the thing happen.
I suppose if this game reminds me of any other thing, it's Pilot Wings.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not so much in mechanics, but more in tone. Or a game called Endless Ocean. Anyone play that?
I think Game
Yeah, I
Grumps
think so.
played it.
It sounds familiar.
It's like, something where you just you put this game on, you just relax. It's just, how relaxed you're going to be is depending on how dizzy you get. Also, as far as flight stick support or anything advanced like that, I have no idea if this game has it, but it really doesn't need it. Like,
Yeah, it seems to want to be controlled with a controller, but it has everything set up pretty much on the thumbsticks and the triggers, except for a few menu things that are on the face buttons.
yeah. Well, it's a very arcadey experience. I mean, you'll still have to do things like pitch and yaw, but it's not Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess you could try. Like, I'm looking at the Steam page, and I'm not seeing anything mentioning joysticks. I see full controller support, which is not a surprise because this is coming out, on everything basically, including the Switch. So if you want to take it on the go, you have an option.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. I think that's about all I got for this one. What about you guys?
It's a game. I would again suggest not playing if you have motion sickness problems, because oh god.
All
Yeah,
right.
if you like, if you enjoy exploring alien worlds, go for it. As long as you don't get motion sickness.
Yeah. I wonder how many times we can warn them about the motion sickness. Anyway, yeah. Personally, I think this is a really solid game. Probably the first really great game I've played of the year. Mind you, the year is pretty young,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but it's still, it's still a pretty good package, I'd say. Also, I wouldn't expect any DLC. Granted, we didn't interview them, but just how the way the game is put together and all that, it really seems to be, this is the package that you're going to get, and that's it. If that changes, I guess we'll let you know. But as far as I know, this game is what you see, what is what you get. All right. So I think that'll about do it for Innerspace. Be sure to join us after the break when we talk about Omega Quintet.